Okay, notes, assignment. I'm going to have you pausing this at various points to go work on parts of the assignment. Otherwise, you're going to get to the end and go work on the assignment. You're like, what the heck did I just listen to? Okay. Now, we're going to learn about, now this is going to get more advanced. Y equals x to the second. This is not going to be a line. To illustrate that, I've made an input-output table, and I've picked integers from -3 to 3 to substitute for the x to find what your y outputs would be. So in an input-output table, parenthesize the x. Now empty your parentheses, put a second power. You will be putting -3 there, repeating the process with -2, repeating the process with -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Now, find what -3 to the second actually equals. It ain't -6. You go -3 times itself, and that's +9. When you square any number, the product's positive. So this is 4, this is 1, 0, and now we're back to 1, 4, and 9. So -3, 9. This is x, this is y. You go left 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then you go left 2 up 4, -1, 1, left 1 up 1. It's called inputs and outputs. 0, 0. 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9. And what we have here, folks, is known as a parabola. Okay? It's called a quadratic equation. It is a parabola. It has a domain and range. Okay? Now, domain relates to x, range relates to all the possible values for y. Domain's not hard. If you have arrows on both ends of the graph, the domain is all real numbers. Just put all. Now, for the range, you label the middle 0, 0. Label your vertex point and label that y. So you put y with its value of 0 at the vertex, and from there it goes up. So y is greater than or equal to 0. It starts at 0 and just goes up. Now, this is also known as a quadratic function. Anytime the independent x variable has a high exponent of a 2, a second power, it's going to be a parabola. High exponent. What if it was x third? Then it wouldn't be a parabola. Where it's all about x second in this unit. Now, the reason why the ones in the first unit made lines is because you had an x, but it wasn't to the second power. It's to the first power. Okay? So those make lines. Now it's x second. Now, tear that paper off. I'm going to have this as an illustration here. Okay? Now, this here is going to seem very pointless to you guys. I'm doing it for kids that take trig next year. If you're not taking trig, too bad. Okay, if you sandbag it, your grade will reflect it. Okay, this is more of an analysis than it is actual math. Tell how the graph changes from its parent function y equals x second. All these equations have x to the second. They would all be parabolas if we graph them, which we are not going to do. You're essentially filling out this information and telling how it would be different. This would be different than this. In order to know that, you're going to go A, H, K. We've already done A, H, K with absolute values. Now it also can be used with parabolas. Now, I did not write this in great order. Okay. See, right there, it starts in the middle at 0, 0. Now, would this one start at 0, 0? Well, vertical shift. That means would this graph move up or down from the way it is here? That's determined by your k. Find your k. It says +6. So since it's plus, you circle up and put 6. Easy. Now, would it move sideways? Well, that's horizontal. That's your h, but it's not just looking at the h. You need to set the inside expression and the quantity equal to 0 every time. And then add 2 to each side. And we actually end up at +2. Positive is right. Right 2. Okay? Now, inverted. Would the u be this direction, or would it go upside down? Well, that's determined if A is a negative, okay? If you have a negative in front, then yes, it's inverted, okay? Inverted means does it turn it upside down? Stretch our compression by a factor of, put your A, but don't put negative, just put 2. Now, is that a stretch or compression? If the A value, when you drop the negative, that A is bigger than 1 whole, which 2 is, it's called a stretch. That's what you do. Now, don't write this down, please. Okay, I'm just showing you what I just figured out. That means instead of this starting in the middle, it would start right 2 up 6. Okay, right 2 up 6. So that would be the middle of the parabola. Inverted means it would go upside down, okay? And a stretch means it would be narrower. It would be narrowed, okay? Now an example of a compression would be like 1/2, 1/3, a fraction less than 1, okay? That's when it'd be compression. That would make the graph wider, the U. Okay, now A, H, K. Vertical, that's K. Down 6, don't put negative, please, okay? Horizontal shift, okay? H, but you got to set your x plus 4 equal to 0, subtract 4 from both sides, and you get -4. Negative on x is left, 4. Okay, don't put negatives over here. Okay, inverted, no, we don't have a negative, so no. Factor, well, the A factor's 2, okay? So 2 is bigger than 1, that's another stretch. Okay, next one. You have A, well, you don't have an H and a K. So there is no vertical, there is no horizontal. That graph would start right in the middle, just like this one did. Inverted, yeah. So you write yes, and then you just write 4A, but you drop the negative. Well, 4 is a stretch. It's bigger than 1. You can fly through these once you get what you're doing. This one's a repeat. Okay, this one here, we don't have an A. There's no multiplier in front. Fine, I don't have an A. Big deal. That means I won't have to fill that out. Okay. Now, is this an H or a K? An H has to be in parentheses. That is clearly not in parentheses. That is a K. So there is a vertical shift because there's a K, plus 3, up 3. H, there ain't no parentheses with a quantity. There's no parentheses, so you cross that out. You just don't write anything, okay? You always have to answer yes or no. Well, we don't have a negative in front, so it's not inverted, okay? Stretch compression. Well, there is no A, so we don't fill that out. Okay, so the only difference is it's up 3. Don't write this, so that means instead of starting here, it would start up 3, and then it would look exactly the same. Okay, next one, there is no A, fine, don't be putting 1 there. I don't want you to do that on this exercise here. This is H, and then K, just don't put a K when you're doing a translation, okay? This is H because it's inside of a parentheses. Okay, I don't see a K, so out. H, we do have an H, so what you do with H, you set the quantity equal to 0, you add 2 to both sides, and you get +2. So that's right 2, positive. Inverted, there's no negative, you write no. A, well, I don't have A, so no. So how that graph would differ, instead of starting here, it would start right 2, and then it would behave the exact same way, same size, shape, everything. Okay, there's no A, there's no parentheses, so there's no H, that's a K. So down 2, that's K. H, that's left, right, there's no H, so that it would not move left or right from what it's doing here. Inverted, there's no negative, you write no. Okay, A, there's no A, so no. There it is. Okay, next one. Now there is an A, there's no H because there's no parentheses. There's no K either. Okay, the second power doesn't get labeled, by the way. Okay, so K, well, if there ain't a K, it doesn't shift up, down at all. If there's not an H, it doesn't shift left, right at all. There's a negative, so you write yes, it'd be upside down. Stretch compression, so you take your A, which is, don't drop the negative, just put 1/3, okay? Now, 1/3 is less than 1 whole, so that is a compression, okay? So what the graph would look like, doesn't move right or left, up, down, it doesn't move right or left, it starts in the same place. It's yes, it's inverted, so it goes upside down, and a compression means it just opens up much wider than the parent function as opposed to narrower. Okay. Next one, A. There's no H, there's no K. Okay, K, well, I don't have to do it. H, there's no H, I don't have to do it. Inverted, no. And then the compression or stretch is determined by your A, which is 3. 3 is bigger than 1, that's a stretch. Okay. Next one, shift up, down, blank units. Okay. So no A, that's an H if it's in parentheses, and there's no K. Don't label the second power with anything. K, there is no K. Okay, H, you take the inside x plus 5, set that equal to 0. If there's an H value, that's what you do with it. So it would be -5, so that means left 5, okay? Inverted, there's no negative, so no. Now the stretch compression is your A. Well, there ain't an A, so there is no stretch or compression from the original, okay? Now, you need to pause your video right now and do 1 through 7, please, okay? Now, I'm going to skip this crap. Identify this information. It's right there for you, okay? The vertex is where the U would start at, okay? This is really simple to find. A, H, there is no K. So, the vertex is simply opposite of H with K. And that's your X, Y above it. Opposite of H, -20, okay? If there's no K, you put 0. Simple as that. Then there's this thing called the Axis of Symmetry. For now, you just write X equals, it's always expressed as X, and you put -20, okay? Whatever the X was in the vertex, okay? Now, maximum or minimum, you just circle one or the other. But in order to tell if A is negative, it's going to be an upside down U. Now, label that, please. The label is the vertex. You have it. Just copy down -20, 0. Label it X, Y. That's a high point. That is a maximum. Okay? Domain's all. I'm not going to waste your time on that. Then for the range, you put the Y with the 0 value, and from there it's going down, so less than or equal. Okay? So you fill out, domain's all going to be all on all these. I filled out the domain to not waste your time and confuse you. Okay? A, H, there's no K, so be it. Okay? But the vertex is still found with the opposite of H and K. Opposite of H, -5.5. If K is not there, it's 0. The axis of symmetry simply states that X is equal to -5.5. Okay? Now, maximum or minimum. Well, now that A is positive, okay? Now that A is positive, it opens upward, and your vertex is there. Please label it -5.50. That's X, that's Y. That's a minimum. That's a low point. Now the range, you put the Y with the 0, and you're going up from there, so it's greater than or equal. Okay, next, if that's a negative, you are going to put a 1 there because you have an A. Then 1 won't be there, though. You would have to insert it yourself. H and K. vertex, opposite of h, k. So positive 4, and k is negative 25. I didn't say opposite of k. You don't make your k opposite. Axis of symmetry just states that x equals 4. Guys, it's easy. Just write x equals what that is. I'll explain what that is when I graph one like it. Okay, maximum, minimum. Well, a is back to being a negative, okay? So it opens downward. Please label the vertex 4, negative 25. That's a maximum. That's a high point. Anytime a is negative, it's going to be a maximum. Anytime a is positive, it's a minimum. Now the range, okay? You put y with the negative 25 value, and then from there you're going down, so that would be less than or equal. Okay, next problem. This fx crap, don't worry about. It's just another way to write y. A, then hk. Vertex, same thing, opposite of h, k. So positive 5, and that's a negative 6. Okay. Axis of symmetry is just x equals 5. Axis of symmetry is what cuts it in half. You'll see that here in a bit. A is positive, so we're back to right side up. Okay, just like that. So please label your middle 5, negative 6. That looks like a minimum to me. Domains, all you range, you put the y with the negative 6 value at the vertex, okay? From there you're going up, so that's greater than or equal. Okay, you need to pause your video now and do 9, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Now, this is how you graph one of these bad boys. We're going to do it the quick way. We're not going to be doing it the stupid way the textbook wants, okay? Instead of x, y, it says x, f of x. It means the same darn thing. When you have to graph a parabola, we're going to use 3 input-output coordinates, just 3. You could make as many as you wanted to, okay? But just make 3. This guy in the middle is going to be our vertex. Okay, there's no A, so it's HK. So opposite of H and K. All right. So opposite of H is 1, okay? K is 2. Now here's what you're going to do for your other inputs, okay? You're going to subtract 1 from 1. Just subtract 1 from the middle. That would be 0. And then go back to 1 and add 1. You just take this middle vertex point and minus 1, which would be 0, 1 plus 1, 2. Then to get your outputs, you're going to use your calculator. You're going to go parentheses. Instead of x, you're going to put 0 in. And then you keep typing minus 1 and the quantity to the second. The second power is right next to the 7, okay? Plus 2, and that's 3. Now, don't reset it. Just use the cursor here. And then instead of 0, we're going to put 1 in, just like that. That's 2. Well, I don't know why I did that. I already had it. Now we put 2 in for x, okay? 3. Back to 3. So 0, 3. You don't go right, left. You go up 3. 1, 2. You go right 1, up 2. 2, 3. You go right 2, 1, 2, 3. Now don't make a V. You need to curve it. It's a U. Identify the axis of symmetry, okay? Axis of symmetry is simply a vertical line that cuts the graph in half. That's all it is, okay? That's all that is. That states that x equals 1 at the vertex, okay? 1, take that 1, because you're at 1 on x, just put x equals 1, okay? Now, domain and range. We know the domain's all, okay? Now the range, label your vertex point, 1, 2. This is what you're worried about for the range. Y with 2, from there it goes up, greater than or equal to. Done, okay? Axis of symmetry just cuts the parabola into two equal halves. It's labeled with x equals 1, just like on that. Okay, next one. Function of x equals 2 times quantity x minus 2 to the second, and then k. Set up your three coordinates, okay? Opposite of h and k. Opposite of h is positive 2, and then the k is 5, okay? Then you subtract 1 from 2, it's 1. You add 1 to 2, it's 3. Now to find these outputs here, you go 2, and actually these are going to match every time, so I'm just going to put 1 in, and I know this y here will be equal to this one, always is. So 1 in for x, minus 2, hit the second power key, and then plus 5. You should be doing this along with me, 7. I'm pretty sure if I put a 3 in, it's 7 as well. Yep. So 1, 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. 2, 5, right? 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 7, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, it is a U. And you notice how it's kind of narrow? Well, no crap, because A is bigger than 1. Okay. All right. Axis of symmetry I want drawn. You put x equals, and it's right through the heart of the 2. Okay. Now the domain and range, all. Now label your vertex, 2, 5. You're focused on the 5 though. Okay. Put y with 5, and then from there it's going up. So greater than or equal to. Okay, next one. AHK. Set up three coordinates. Okay. Because it curves, you can't do what you did with the absolute values and make a V out of it. Okay. It curves. It's not a slope kind of deal. Opposite of H, K. Opposite of H, negative 7. Then the K value is negative 8. Then you add 1 to negative 7, that's negative 6. Subtract 1 from negative 7, that's negative 8. If you have these flipped, it don't matter, okay? It doesn't. So negative 3, and then negative 6 plus 7 to the second minus 8. I got negative 11. Now, problem is you have to go by 2's on this to get to negative 11. We're still going by 1's on this. So left 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down 11, but count by 2's. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, right there. Negative 7, 8. Negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay. Negative 8, negative 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. So it goes upside down, it inverts because A is negative. Okay, axis of symmetry, draw it right through the heart, and just somewhere, just write x equals negative 7. Negative 7. It's negative 7 on x, it cuts right through that. Domains all. Range, you need to label the vertex with negative 7, negative 8. So you put y with negative 8. And then from there it's going down. So now it's a less than or equal. Okay. You need to pause the video, do 11, 12, 13, please. Okay. Okay, then finally, here's how to do 14. A gardener is planting a wire fence around the edge of his rectangular garden to keep animals from eating his plants. Okay, there's a rectangle. Drew it right there. He has 20 meters of fence. That means the perimeter is 20 because he's going to put the fence around the outside of the rectangle. That is perimeter. So 2 L's plus 2 W's equal 20. What quadratic function represents the area of the garden? So it says equals area, but here's the deal. What you need to do is write this in terms of one variable. You don't just put L and W. I set that up. So I'm going to get L by itself. You could get W by itself as well. I'm getting the L by itself. Okay? So L is multiplied by 2. I need to subtract the 2W. Guys, quit putting plus 2W there. Okay? Just put minus 2W. Then divide by 2. So L equals 10 minus 1W. So in that L parentheses, don't put L. You replace L with 10 minus 1W. Then in this one, you just put W. So now you have matching variables within each parentheses. Now you need to distribute. You take 10 times W, and then you take negative 1W times W. So that's 10W, and that's negative 1. Now, W times itself is W to the second power. So you need to put the W to the second term comes first. Negative 1W to the second plus 10W equals A. And there you have it, the independent variables to the second power. Okay, next one. We have 100 feet of wire to build a rectangular fence. What quadratic equation represents the area of the fence? Okay. So again, area. First off, here's how you start the problem from scratch. You make 2 parentheses equals area. Length, width. Okay. Now, that 100 feature perimeter, so you come over here and write 2L plus 2W equals 100. Now, the point of that is I want to get L by itself, okay? Because I want to have this matching variables in the parentheses. So, minus 2W, just put it afterwards. You don't have to graph it. So, divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. So, I have L equals 50 minus 1W. So in the L, you're not going to put L, you're going to put this 50 minus 1W expression. And then here I just have W that I distribute. 50 times W, okay? And then negative 1W times W. So 50W, negative 1W to the second, okay? So you put negative 1W to the second first. You need to put the term that has a second power first, followed by the 50W. Equals A. That's your equation. Okay, this is the perimeter, 2L plus 2W equals 50. Then you've got to set up your length width parentheses. Okay, I would suggest you get the L by itself and just write both the dimensions in terms of W.